Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel here. And today we're going to be talking about Cobra Kai Season 4, and we're going to have a open spoiler discussion, basically. So all spoilers are going to be on the table. So if you haven't seen Cobra Kai already, make sure you go over to Netflix, watch this season, and then come back afterwards. So let's get into it straight away. As you would have seen from my non-spoiler review, I think this season's fantastic. Certainly enjoy all the different dynamics, different relationships that are on display. And it's certainly one of the most enjoyable seasons of Cobra Kai. I still think season 1 is just above this and season 3. If I had to nudge, I originally said in my non-spoiler review that I liked season 3 a little bit more than season 4, but after having a little bit more time to reflect, I do appreciate the efforts that season 4 have gone to expand the Karate Kid universe, I should say. So let's start with the good stuff. Then I'll quickly talk about some of the stuff that I didn't like, and then I'll give some little predictions for season 5. The show is strongly built on the Johnny and Daniel relationship. I think the fact that these two still have conflict after 35 years is it's extremely funny. And the banter that they have with each other is really good to watch. But obviously, there's the conflict between them as well. Kind of a fire and ice like relationship. So that worked for me. When those two have like a little rematch at the dojo, I absolutely loved it. Brought back so many memories of when I watched the first movie when I was a kid. Secondly, love the Johnny Miguel relationship. Continues to evolve. As you can see, there's a father-son sort of like bond between the two. Very close. And just the humor that comes from these two being together on screen is really enjoyable. Johnny is just always funny. His inability to understand technology is still hilarious, and we're 4 seasons into the show. So I think that's something that will hold the show in good stead if these two maintain a strong relationship. Johnny is just my favorite character. He speaks his mind, talks a bit of shit, and he's relatable, I think. There's a conversation that he has with Sam about, Sam says, "Oh, you don't have your life together," and Johnny replies with, "I could have, if I did what my parents wanted, I could have been wearing a suit and tie and going to an office every day, but I'm doing what I love every day and teaching you guys how to do karate." I'm paraphrasing there, but you get the idea. So I think, season 4 allows different characters that you wouldn't expect to have, relationships and dialogues. And it's just, once again, expanding and, providing character development for all the different characters in the show now, because this show just gets bigger each season. Terry Silver makes a return here. I like how Terry is very hesitant at first to join Cobra Kai because of, what he was doing in the 80s. He said he had a drug addiction and was drinking lots of alcohol, making poor decisions. He said he was really high on cocaine when, all that sort of stuff with Daniel was happening. And he's just like, he was a kid. Like, let's leave the kid alone. I think that once Terry does come into Cobra Kai after some convincing from Kreese always plants the seed of, "I saved your life in Vietnam," and really uses that as a bargaining chip to lure Terry Silver in to Cobra Kai, because he's got the money, he's got the resources, to help make the dojo a bigger place. And I think that ending with Terry Silver is quite an interesting turn. I didn't sort of expect it to play out like this. I understand, like, there was obviously some friction between Kreese and Silver towards the end of the season. You can really notice that in the last couple of episodes. But yeah, that ending for season 5 really sets up the show for more interesting things, I reckon. One thing that I certainly loved in the early few episodes, we're introduced to Cobra Kai's newest student, Kenny. Kenny, his brother's Sean, who Robbie, met and fought with in prison. And I think Kenny's story is really sympathetic for anyone who was bullied during high school. It can be a tough place when people are ganging up on you. So I liked how they go to great efforts to, provide a backstory for the character. You really get to see the emotions that Kenny, brings to the screen. It's very obvious he's a frightened young kid, but Cobra Kai gives him the confidence. And it's a bit like what happened to Miguel in season 1. And as, Kenny gets deeper into the season, he starts to really go down the proper Cobra Kai path. And I think I liked what they did with Anthony, Daniel's son. I think that, making a LaRusso the bully and looking at the other side of the spectrum was a really smart choice, and, gives a solid reason why Kenny decides to go to Cobra Kai, obviously over the other 2 dojos. So, it will be interesting to see where Kenny does go next season. I loved his relationship with Robbie. I thought Tanner Buchanan as Robbie did a fantastic job this season. He is a bit like a bit of a Star Wars reference, but a bit like the Anakin Skywalker character. He was on the light for so long. Now he's turned to the dark, but he's always had temptations to go back to the light. So I think Tanner played the character really well. And I think that, it leaves Robbie in a very interesting place to go into season 5, starting to forgive people who have wronged him in the past. His dad, Daniel, I assume he's going to forgive Miguel, and you'll probably end up seeing him next season not do karate at all or join one of the 2 dojos. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. I love the relationship between Robbie and Kenny. I think those 2 really bounce well off each other. Robbie tries to take Kenny under his wing, gives him a shot when Kreese just says, "Nah, get out the door." I think that, it's a perfect sort of Star Wars reference with Robbie being, Obi-Wan, and Kenny sort of being the Jedi, or the Padawan, I should say. And, I think the fact that these 2, have a bit in common in terms of, rough upbringings, really bonds the 2 characters together. I like the relationship between Sam and Tori. I think that Tori is one of the most well-developed characters this season. Obviously, you find out a little bit about her backstory, coming from a really poor family in season 3, struggling to get a job after the school fight, being on probation, having a brother to look after. And Tori's relationship with Sam, but also Amanda LaRusso, is quite interesting. Sam, understandably, has strong hatred for Tori, and from her point of view, that's extremely understandable after what happened in the school fight season 2. Amanda trying to do the right thing and stand up for her daughter, but at the same time, having a sympathetic angle for Tori due to the fact that, Amanda did some things when she was a bit younger, that she sort of has tried to hide from in the past. She believes that young people deserve a second chance. And I think it's an unlikely pairing between Tori and Amanda, but I think it's something that really works well for the show. Probably one of my favorite things about this season is the redemption of Hawk. I think, or Eli, I think that the in seasons 2 and 3, Hawk was getting a bit over the top for me personally. Trying to beat up Dimitri and things like that, I don't think was a great choice for the character. But I think that they've been able to give him a redemption. He goes back to being Eli. He joins Miyagi-Do so he can be closer to Dimitri. I think it's a really good choice for the character. He basically changes his persona the moment that Cobra Kai kids sort of strap him down in the tattoo parlor and cut off his mohawk. So I think that Eli's redemption is something that's really going to serve the show well going forward. I actually thought it was quite surprising that he ended up being the winner, and it was a really unexpected turn. I think that it was an interesting choice having the boys fight first over the girls. I think that was the interesting thing. I was fully expecting another Miguel and Robbie showdown, but I think the way that they did the fight in the end was really, really satisfying. It was a good, choreographed really well, and the sort of internal struggles that Robbie has during the fight, I think adds a bit more emotional weight to it. The ending with Terry Silver, this is sort of the good and the bad. I thought it was really strange to bring Stingray back for that particular twist. I like that they brought the Stingray character back. I thought he was really funny after his absence in season 3. But I didn't like that Terry Silver basically just beat the shit out of Stingray and says, I'll make you a Cobra Kai if you turn on Kreese. I wish there was a different narrative point of view to get Kreese arrested. Basically, Silver framed him for the beating up of Stingray, which I think will be very interesting next season, and probably helps to bring Kreese back to the light side. But we won't know until we actually see the season. That's something that I liked the outcome, but I didn't like how they did it. So the other thing that I didn't like was Sam. At different times, she talks about being the better person, but she does a lot to provoke Tori. And it's kind of Sam finding her ground. She obviously has a strong allegiance to her dad, and wants to do the Miyagi-Do thing, but also she does enjoy being on Johnny's side and, experimenting with the strike first sort of mentality that Johnny brings to his students. So you could certainly see that play out in Sam's personality. You could see it, influencing the decisions that she sort of makes. She starts to get a bit more aggressive. I thought the fact that they basically, getting back to the good stuff, I think it was really pleasing that they spent 2 episodes on the All Valley. It's been a couple of seasons since we've had an All Valley tournament, but I think they did it really well. I think it's very interesting, all the different skills that they introduced to the tournament, but it worked fine for me. I suppose one thing that I will be sort of jumping back to the bad side of things now, if I'm nitpicking about the tournament sort of stuff, there's a new girl from the debating team that joins the Eagle Fang dojo after being friends with Bart. And she's like, I'm actually pretty decent after learning karate for only 6 weeks. It's just kind of a little bit, not believable that, kids can get, advanced at karate so quickly. But this is a minor nitpick. You got to take this show with a bit of a grain of salt. It's not the most realistic at times. I thought the school fight in season 2 was a bit over the top, but the show overall is fantastic. I love this season. I think it's probably tied with season 3 for me, in second place behind sort of season 1. I still think season 2's at the bottom, but all seasons of Cobra Kai are extremely well done, and I fully enjoyed this season. So it'll be very interesting to see where season 5 goes, obviously with Johnny sort of going to go and searching for Miguel in Mexico as Miguel goes to try and find his dad. Oh, I can't believe I didn't even mention this, but Chosen is back to lead Miyagi-Do. So I'm really excited about that. Hope they don't take Chosen back to the dark sort of path, keep him on the light side with Daniel as they hope to take down Cobra Kai. So very interesting to see what happens with Terry Silver in season 5, what happens with Kreese going to jail, what happens with Johnny and Miguel, what happens with Johnny and Robbie. I think that's going to be a really key sort of thing as well. I think those are the main things that I'm really interested in for next season. So hopefully within the next 8 to 12 months, we get season 5 of Cobra Kai. And I heard word online the other day that there's, going to be potentially more seasons after season 5. So hopefully they can keep the show coming. So if you like this review, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I would love to hear from everyone. Take care, guys. Have a great day.